Morning, everybody, and welcome to the best day of the week. Happy Thursday to you listening on the radio, to you listening on the free Odyssey app, to you listening via ESPN 1320 TV, youtube.com/ESPN 1320. That's twitch.tv/ESPN 1320. What do you got?
We got some exciting stuff.
Oh, what's up? What's happening?
All-Star voting was just released.
Oh, hang on. Don't wait. Hang on. Let me do my, this is why it's hard to produce a show and host it at the same time. We have All-Star numbers in. James Hamlin.
The third fan returns. Domantas Sabonis has entered the conversation, everybody.
Hey.
He is number 10.
Look at him go.
In Western Conference front court players. And De'Aaron Fox has moved up to number 7.
I'm so proud of Kings fans and NBA fans in general for starting to get the voting right.
Yeah. Sorry to bamboozle our opening.
No, it's fine. We love it.
There it was.
We love it. Congratulations to De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis for getting into the top 10 in fan voting. I think they're going to be all-stars because fan voting is only part of it.
Yeah.
I think the fan voting matters for starters. And like coaches and players pick the rest.
I think so. I think coaches pick the rest.
Just coaches, no players?
Yeah.
Just get all the players voting for themselves. All right, yeah. Good start to the show.
Yes.
Happy Thursday. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody for listening. We'll talk about Kings Pacers. There's a couple different things I want to get into with that. The Suns obviously beat the Kings by going small at the end. We'll talk about how the Kings might adjust to that, what they can do to get back on a winning track against the Pacers. But I want to start in the NFL today.
Yes.
Because news broke last night from ESPN's Adam Schefter that Mike McCarthy's job in Dallas is safe. So, more breaking news here. The Cowboys have been eliminated from Super Bowl contention for next season by way of Mike McCarthy sticking around as their head coach. That's tough for Cowboys fans, maybe year after next. But this is fascinating to me because Mike McCarthy gets to stick around again. They've won 12 games 3 years in a row. They've won one playoff game in those 3 years. And they've had a roster that has been capable to me anyway. And I think to Jerry Jones of going to the Super Bowl each of those years, and they've not. And they've face planted spectacularly a couple of times in that stretch. So this brings a question to me of, I don't want to talk about the Cowboys. I don't care that much about the Dallas Cowboys to spend a lot of time talking about them.
No, the only reason I watch the Cowboys at all is because CeeDee Lamb is on my fantasy team.
Right.
Outside of that,
or they're playing the 49ers.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Outside of that, no. Like, I don't want to watch them.
Yeah, just don't care that much. They're in the NFC, and they're a good NFC team, and they might play the Niners in the playoffs. But as far as that goes, and they're on primetime all the time. But anyways, I don't care that much about them. I think the idea, though, of like expectations in sports is so fascinating because I sit here on the radio and I go, Mike McCarthy stinks. Mike McCarthy should be fired by the Dallas Cowboys. But if Mike Brown of the Sacramento Kings, just for example, won the equivalent of 12 games so what is that? I should have done the math beforehand. If he won 50 plus games.
Yeah, it's like a 700 win percentage.
12 divided by 17 times 82. That's a 58 game season, 58 win season in the NBA.
Okay.
To go 12-5 in the NFL. That's what Mike McCarthy's done the last 3 years. If Mike Brown won 58 games 3 years in a row, and the Kings won one playoff series in those 3 years, I don't think there's any chance we would be getting on the radio going, you know what? The Kings just need to make a change of head coach.
No, I mean, that if you got to that point, but like, you're not there.
Right.
But expectations have still changed.
Right. Expectations had changed for the Kings just this year.
Oh, yeah.
Like there were people in the chatty house yesterday, on Twitter yesterday, after they lost to the Suns, like, I'm not watching basketball for 2 weeks. I need a break.
I'm done.
I'm done with this team.
I'm done with this team.
Done until they make a trade. Like, dang, and that's not bad. Like, this is not to criticize anybody who thinks that. Like, fan how you fan. I support you no matter what. Fan how you fan.
Yes.
But from an expectation standpoint, 2 years ago, the same people would have killed for the Kings to be 6 over on January 18th.
Oh yeah.
Would have killed for it.
Yeah.
And now the expectations have reached a point of, well, I'm not after they blew that lead, they've lost 3 in a row. I need a week off.
Those same people, they literally would paint like half their face purple and half of it black and go to work. They would go to work wearing face paint right now if this was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And the Kings were 6 games over. So I get it. I get it, but expectations change. And I think it's such a difficult thing. And especially this season specifically, the way the Kings have lost so brutally, like the big losses, like that matters. Like I can imagine like the game the other night where they blow a 22-point lead, or where Damian Lillard hits a 3. I would imagine that ruined a couple of people's nights. Like people, like they got done with that and they're like, okay, I that really, really just ruined my evening. And yeah,
for sure. That's a bad way to lose, especially up 18 with 5.5 minutes left. You're sitting on your couch and you're going, great, I'm gonna cruise. Maybe you're up washing dishes or doing whatever you do to start getting ready for bed, start your nighttime routine. You're going, okay, the Kings will be on in the background, but hey, they're cruising.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you go to bed with a loss. Like that sucks.
Yeah.
Undeniably. And again, like I said, I'm not criticizing anybody that is like, hey, I'm done. Because most likely those people are going to be there tonight.
Yeah.
They're going to be watching tonight. Just frustrated in the moment. But I find the Mike McCarthy thing specifically so interesting because like the Cowboys, there's this expectation of Super Bowl success. But that's not been the case since 1995.
Yeah, it's like 30
maybe
years.
They're okay with just competing and being in the playoffs.
I guess.
Maybe that's fine for them because if that is, then Mike McCarthy's your guy. He will get you there. Like for sure. He's got you. If you got a good enough roster, Mike McCarthy will get you there. But I look at the 49ers and same thing. But Jed York goes, we hang Super Bowl banners here. We don't hang division banners. We hang Super Bowl banners. Hung Super Bowl banners since 1994. Hey, technically it was 95. It's January 95, but the 94 season.
Was he, even an owner then? Like,
no.
Was he in high school?
In 94? Yeah, probably high school-ish.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, his uncle Eddie DeBartolo owned the team. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So no, he wasn't involved with the franchise the way he is now then. But he says we hang Super Bowl banners, not division banners, and yet they sit here and they've extended Kyle Shanahan, even though he's not won anything, because the expectation changed. They went from Jim Harbaugh in 2011, 2014, tons of success, save for the 2014 season. And after that season, that's when Jed said, we don't hang division banners. We hang Super Bowl banners, trying to justify why he got rid of Jim Harbaugh. But then he saw how bad it was with Jim Tomsula. Okay, that was a mistake. He's a defensive line coach, promoted him too early. Let's get a real coach in here. Chip Kelly had some success with Philly. Let's get him in here, turn the culture around. Wrong. Won 2 games, beat the Rams twice, go 2-14, get the number 2 pick in the draft. And then he went, okay, the expectation now is let's just some stability. We'll take stability. And that's why Kyle Shanahan, despite the fact that he has not won a Super Bowl, that they've only been to 1 Super Bowl under Kyle Shanahan, but they've been in the playoffs in every year since 2019, save for 2020. So all but 1 year since 2019. They've been in the NFC Championship game 3 times, and they've been in the Super Bowl once. If you're Jed York, you're going, this is great. Like, this is A+.
But when does it get to a point where you have to have a coach that can get you over the top? Because that's typical. Like, you get to a certain point with a coach. Like, if Kyle Shanahan isn't in the Super Bowl, and if Kyle Shanahan maybe doesn't win the Super Bowl, like, this same conversation might be seeping in. Because expectations here now are like, look, like, always a bridesmaid, never a bride, man. Like, at what point do you have it in you to get your team over the hump? And you can say, well, maybe you didn't have this or that. No, this is an all-star team.
Yeah.
Like, you're running out there with a team that was made on Madden.
Yeah.
Like, this is a team with spectacular players at almost every position. Like, at what point does it become finger pointing if you don't get there? And I guess for the Cowboys, it's never, because we saw the Jason Garrett situation play out over like
10 years.
Yeah. I mean, that thing could almost drive, and you're just waiting for, like, I mean, it's going through puberty, and you're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Just horrible. So I guess, I don't know. Jerry Jones must think he gets to live forever, because he's acting that way, and he's going to squander another year.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah. I think with the 49ers specifically, and with Kyle Shanahan, and I produced radio in the Bay Area for the 2019, 2020, and 2021 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd been, and I guess 2022. So like 4 football seasons. I was there, and that would come up. Like the 2020 season when the Niners went 4-12 that year.
Yeah, something like that.
Whatever they ended up going. That year they went like 6-10, but still they were sub 500, not good. There were all the injuries. The talk was like, man, Kyle Shanahan just can't get it. If he can't get it done, I mean, and they'd just gone to a Super Bowl. They had a bunch of guys get hurt, and next year they're in the NFC title game. They fall short. Next year in the NFC title game, their quarterback gets hurt. Their third quarterback of the year gets hurt, and even then it was like, well, Kyle Shanahan just gets his quarterbacks hurt. Like, that's
well,
wild.
that used to be the claim about his running backs.
Right. Yeah.
And I think it still probably is, except for somehow Christian McCaffrey, one of the most injury riddled running backs in history, figures out a way to stay healthy every year.
Yeah.
Even though on occasion his coach runs him 19 times in the first half.
That's fine. That's fine.
19 touches in the
He's
first
all
half.
good. He's fine. He's fine now. He's ready for the playoffs. No. And so I'm that's the question I have, is because right now I sit here and I go, they have a loaded roster that he has final say over, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
There are other people in the building helping construct this roster, but he's built a good roster. He's hired a ton of good coaches who have gone on to get head coaching jobs, who have gone on to have successful head coaching stints.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks for something. But like you said, at some point, you got to get over that hump, because at some point you have a loaded roster. And even if it's not on the coach, even if it is, oh man, there's a bad call here and a fumble there, and you know what, they just didn't get this bounce, and they just keep falling short. Like at some point you go, all right, tear it up, got to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
And I when that is for the 49ers, I have no idea.
They just keep extending.
It'll be vibes for me.
Yeah.
It'll be vibes for me. Now, I thought Mike Smith, who was the Falcons coach from 2008 through 2014, he took them to the playoffs 4 out of his 7 years, and they went to a conference championship game in there. They went to a divisional game. They were a good team in that stretch. I thought he got fired right after they lost that conference championship game, but he had 2 years after that where they went 10-22 in those 2 years. And at that point, it's like, okay, that coach had success. His message is lost. And that's, I think, with Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers, I think right now they go, hey, we have a damn good football coach. And if the message ever gets lost, then they'll move on.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting close to that, Kyle.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. Let's switch gears. Let's talk some Kings on the coming up next. They face the Pacers tonight, and obviously we got to get to the Halliburton Sabonis conversation, because that's what we do on the radio.
That's right.
Yeah, buckle up, everybody. Plenty coming up, though, and at 11 o'clock we'll have Packers legend, inventor of the Lambeau Leap, and Pro Football Hall of Famer Leroy Butler is going to join us at 11 o'clock. That's going to be a ton of fun. Love talking football with him. Stay locked into the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube, right here on ESPN 1320.
What's going on, everybody?
Remember I got out on time yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, no dice today.
I wanted to make sure you saw that.
No, I did.
Okay,
I was
cool.
on it.
Yeah. Spectacular.
I do, I might. I was gonna loop the Kings back in there.
Yep. We did for a moment.
But like at the end, but I genuinely, like I said, with Kyle Shanahan, I have at least a little bit of an idea. But with like Mike Brown specifically, I can't wrap my head around what this looks like in 4 years. Like if they continue being 50-ish wins, they're in the playoffs every year, and they're just first, second round exit. Maybe they go to the conference finals once, but they're out in the first or second round. Like I think it's so dependent on what it looks like very specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I want to take a question from the audience.
Yeah, please.
Scooter 916, as an insider, are you worried about being on a show and missing anything, especially during trade time?
Oh,
this is a great question.
It's a very good question.
I would say this. First of all, this is a major platform for us. If there is something that I can break it right here. And I can tell Kyle, hey, Kyle, go ahead and talk for a minute. And I'm going to make sure that I tweet this out as we're breaking it here on the show.
Yeah.
So if I have something that pops up, like my phone is attached. It's an appendage. It is attached to me at all times.
I thought I was bad about being on my phone during conversations. You are far worse than me.
Yeah. Well, I've told you my brain works overtime a lot of the time, and I multitask a lot. But no, I'm not really worried about that.
You were better at than me. I cannot pay attention to a conversation and be on my phone.
Oh yeah. I would say this is a good spot though for us to be where we have an engaged Kings audience all the time, and if you guys get the news first, you get the news first, and if it gets broken somewhere else, sure, but we instantly get to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
So if Shams or Woj drops a bomb while we're on the show, we just switch gears. We trash our entire rundown. It just goes in the trash, and we just instantly start breaking down the trade.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine because that's what fans want. There's part of me that's a newsbreaker, but part of me who's also an analyst who helps people understand the why and the how and all that of a complex trade.
And if James breaks news on the show and you want to tweet it, make sure to credit James and ESPN 1320.
There it is.
Okay, we're back. Yeah, if James breaks news on the show, which could very well happen, the trade deadline's coming. February 8th.
Yeah.
But if James breaks news on the show and you want to tweet about it, credit James Hammond, Kyle Madsen of ESPN 1320. I'm riding coattails. No.
That's funny.
No, I think that's interesting. The idea of somebody, if you were not watching on the stream, or maybe you mute the stream, it breaks, which would be nuts, but whatever. If you're watching on the stream, somebody asked James in our YouTube chat in the chatty house, they asked him, hey, do you ever wonder, being an insider, a newsbreaker, do you ever wonder that you're going to miss something during a show? And I thought your answer was really good. No, because I'm locked in, I'm multitasking, I'm doing a million things. And if news breaks, then I'll break it right here and we'll talk about it. And I think that's such a fun, aspect of especially doing radio from 10 to noon, because there's a lot of news that'll happen in this window, especially because East Coast time, it's 1:20 p.m. right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that aspect of this. And I'm telling you, every single time you look down at your phone or you pick up your phone, I notice, because it might always be something a little interesting.
Well, this morning,
sometimes it's not.
I haven't been able to fully confirm, but I will tell you that I've heard a rumor that the Oakland A's are in Sacramento right now looking at Sutter. What is it? Sutter
Health Field.
Sutter Health Field.
Sutter Health Park.
Yeah, Sutter Health Park. So I don't have
Sutter Health Park.
multiple confirmations on that, but my source on that is really solid, and I'm gonna say, hey, there's a good chance that the Oakland A's are in Sacramento trying to look at the possibility of playing at the River Cats Stadium, which is owned by Vivek Ranadive.
Gross.
Yep.
I'm out. You will not catch me at a Sacramento A's game.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough.
Ugh.
Like we talked about this a little bit yesterday, Kyle. I mean, like the only way that I'm doing this if I'm Vivek is if it comes with the opportunity to possibly get an expansion team down the road.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the city of Sacramento, if you're ownership, and maybe that makes sense.
Sure.
Where you can prove up that you're a legitimate, baseball market.
I wonder if I wonder if they would do that without some kind of confirmation from MLB that MLB would even consider it.
I guess. I mean, like, I think
Because
the fallback would be that you're going to give up your Giants affiliation, right,
mm-hmm.
in order to make that move.
Yeah.
And I think it would have to come with the understanding that at worst case scenario, the Aviators would move up from Las Vegas and become your AAA team again.
If MLB put a major league team here.
Well,
you mean?
No, if they did not, like, because if the A's like welcome in, I mean, if the River Cats welcome in the Oakland A's, that basically you can't have two teams playing in one stadium. Like, you can't have the River Cats and the A's. Like, the A's would come up, they would play at River Cats Park at again.
I mean, why
Center
not?
Outfield.
They're talking about the A's possibly playing games at Oracle Park. Yeah, the Giants play.
I just don't know that that's possible though. Like, to have, because there's so many games.
Yeah,
and again, the Giants have basically said no, like, or at least that's what the word was initially. Like, they didn't have interest in that.
I wonder how many people would go to an A's game in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, that's weird. Well, I mean, I wonder how many people would go to an A's game in Sacramento. It's not that far.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I'm an A's fan, which I am, I would much prefer that the A's move to Sacramento than move to Las Vegas. If they go to Las Vegas, done, Donzo, gone, bye-bye,
Yeah.
see ya. If they move to Sacramento,
but
you can still, if you're an A's fan, you can still get to Sacramento. You can take the train. You can be here and see games right down the street.
No, I understand that, but I mean, let me make sure that I'm being abundantly clear here.
Yeah.
When I say I'm out on the Sacramento A's, I mean in that scope of, hey, they're going to play here for a couple of years while they build the ballpark in Vegas.
Oh, got it. And then that means
that I'm out on.
Yeah.
Now, if they scrap the ballpark and Vivek buys the team from John Fisher and they build a major league park in Sacramento and that's what it is, that I would be able to live with much easier than displacing them entirely from Northern California.
Yeah.
For me personally, I have friends who punted on the Warriors when they left Oakland for San Francisco. And those are diehard, like, from Oakland. If you're not with Oakland, you're not with any. Okay. Like, that's not me.
Yeah. I mean, basically the way this thing looks like it's playing out is that the 2024 season will be the last season at the Coliseum. And it may not even be that. Like, we don't know. There's a possibility they could find something for right now and kind of move on.
Here's what is, that's a great point, and I think it's worth laying out. Here is what is certain. The A's lease at the Coliseum is up after 2024.
Yeah.
They have no home for 2025.
Yeah. Or 2026 or 2027.
Or maybe even 2028. That's when their Vegas ballpark is supposed to be done, but they don't even have renderings yet. So I'm assuming that they'll smash whatever bill or whatever funding or whatever they need to get through to get the ballpark up by 2028.
Yeah.
But they don't have a home field beyond 2024.
No,
that is the only certainty right now.
Yeah.
And whether they're going to negotiate with the city of Oakland or vice versa, that is not a good relationship at the moment.
No.
TBD. The A's are obviously looking here in Sacramento. I know that their AAA park in Vegas with the Aviators is a possibility, which is out in BFE, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been.
No.
But me and some friends went to Vegas, not to brag. We went to Vegas a couple summers ago, and I mean, middle of July, it sucked. But we went, hey, we all love baseball. Let's go to an Aviators game. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. We call a taxi, because that's what you do in Vegas. You call a taxi, not an Uber, because like the taxi union there is so strong that Ubers are like $150 nuts. But we called his taxi and we seen it's like miles out. We thought we were going on the street. Like, nah, man, you gotta take a highway. You gotta get away from the strip. You gotta get way the hell out there.
Is it in Henderson?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's the name of the town.
Okay.
That is a town in Nevada. I think that it is just crazy. It's not like an hour and a half away, but it was a good like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It was not close. It was an expensive taxi.
Oof.
And it's hot.
Oh no, it's hot.
It's 7:00. 7:00 first pitch is like 110. You get a tall Bud Light, you gotta like smash it like super fast or it gets warm.
You need one of those little sleeves.
Dude, I learned that the hard way. So I bought a big Bud Light. And I'm not I'm gonna chug this 30-ounce Bud Light. Like that's not the kind of beer drinker I am. Sorry. And I'm working my way through this beer. And I'm like halfway through it and it's warm now. It is legit like room temp Bud Light. And this guy sits in front of me. I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Dude's wearing the exact same Hawaiian shirt.
Oh no.
So like, oh, this is
You're
funny.
twinsies.
Right. This is funny. So I go buy him a beer. I bring it down to him. He gets up and buys me a beer. So now I have this second beer that's getting warm while I have my half warm one already. Oh, it's a tough experience for your boy. Because I'm not wasting it. Like, you're not going to do that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
A stranger bought this for me. I'm going to.
You needed one of those hats.
Yeah.
With just double straws.
Just go to town. Yeah. That was my Vegas baseball story. I did not have a good time.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm okay if this is a prove it type situation. I'm not okay if this is just a lifeline and you're helping somebody out who at the end of the day is a bad person.
Yeah.
And that's who John Fisher is. He's a bad owner, and I don't want his stink all over Sacramento. But again, even if you had to say goodbye to the Giants affiliate to make this happen, I think it would come with the understanding that you would, when the A's did go to Vegas, you would get their AAA team back in Sacramento, which is what the A's, which is what the River Cats were originally. I think for the first 12 years, they were the A's affiliate, not the Giants affiliate, which
it would be peak Oakland Athletics to move their team to Vegas, where they already have a AAA team, which would make things like call-ups and options and things like that super easy, only to supplant the AAA team, and move them up to Sacramento.
Yeah, but you don't have enough of a fan base there to support two baseball teams, Kyle.
That's a good point.
AAA and
point.
You don't have the fan base to do that.
I wonder how many Aviators fans are going to become A's fans.
Maybe. I mean, like, look, it's a baseball town. Like, I've had cousins. I have cousins in
Sacramento.
Vegas. No, Vegas. They love. It used to be the Vegas Stars. They love baseball there.
Yeah.
So, but you just don't have enough people and enough of a fan base. I don't.
Yeah.
To support it.
No, I totally agree. We should probably talk about the Kings next, because that's what we were going to do here, and then we got sidetracked. So, let's get into Kings Pacers next on the Insiders on ESPN 1320.
I would definitely, like, if they decided to.
The 51s had great ads.
To build a field here. I mean, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I would rock with a major league team in Sacramento for sure.
Yeah.
They were, and then the A's walked away from the negotiating table. Good question. Good question, agent from Marvel. I love that. I don't know if you guys can see him, Justin Case from the Eagle back there. My man wears shorts every single day. He is so cold that he is wearing a jean jacket, a fleece-lined denim jacket, and shorts.
Every guy who works at 96.9 looks like a dude who would work at 96.9.
Hey, look at when you do this today, or you can just Google it real quick. You know Justin, who does mornings at 96.9? Go look at the Eagle logo and tell me the Eagle logo doesn't just look like Justin. I'm telling you.
All right.
That's just in case.
All right.
By
Just
the
in
way.
case.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Mornings on the Eagle. I know, dude. I know. Well, I asked that because my head was blocking him, so I was trying to make sure that. Don't know. Is Siakam playing? Has that been officially announced?
The trade has been officially announced, I believe, but he was listed as out. Trade pending last night. I can look right now. Let me look right because to be honest,
We have
I
2
have
minutes.
not looked. Oh, we got what? We got 2 minutes. 2 minutes. The A's had not put. I mean, the now A's.
Yeah, if you win the $100 gift certificate, you are still entered to win a Kings jersey.
Yes. Bruce Brown is listed as out. Trade pending. Kyra Lewis, which I don't know how they picked up Kyra Lewis in that deal, but he is out. Trade pending. Jordan Nwora is out. Trade pending, which I probably called David Nwora like 8 times yesterday. Obi Toppin is questionable. Benedict Mathurin is questionable with a left ankle sprain. Tyrese Halliburton has been upgraded to questionable with a left hamstring. He went from very close to dead to back playing very quickly. And Aaron Neesmith is questionable. He has a left tibialis anterior strain. Ooh, that's not a good one.
That sounds tough. Kyra Lewis went to the Raptors. Probably a salary match thing.
No, I think Kyra Lewis ended up in. Well, he wasn't there before. He wasn't in Indiana. He was in New Orleans. So no, he made his way there. I don't know how. I need to look at the.
What? Oh, Pelicans trade Kyra Lewis to the Pacers. Got it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they got in that deal. Oh, it's a second round pick, I think.
Wait, so did they trade for Kyra Lewis to send him to Toronto?
I don't.
Oh boy. All right, we're coming back. All right. So Kyra Lewis was sent by the Pelicans to the Pacers in exchange for cash consideration. Kyra Lewis and a 2024 second round pick sent to the Pacers in exchange for cash considerations. Lewis was then, as part of the Siakam deal, flipped to Toronto.
Okay. Well, that's weird
Right?
because he's still listed on the Pelicans. I mean the Pacers injury report.
So right, so that deal's done. So he's on the Pacers. But he will be traded to Toronto before he plays for the Pacers.
Okay. I did see that.
That was a lot.
This hard caps them at the apron. So that's why you might be able to make a deal beforehand. And then New Orleans was over the cap, was over the luxury tax. And so they were just looking to shave a little bit of cash off so they could save some money.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Money saving moves. All right.
Yeah, complicated.
When do you think we'll ever get to the point that the Sabonis Halliburton trade gets looked at as like a win for everybody? At least outside of Sacramento and Indiana, because I think everybody in Sacramento kind of views it that way already.
It's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I do believe that these two players will be attached.
Yeah,
like,
forever.
In every conversation forever. Right. So,
Yeah.
And I don't know how you shake that. And to be honest, I think that it's part of the reason why people look at Sabonis a different way than they should, especially from the outside. Like people who watch Sabonis every night have an appreciation for who he is and what he does. People who don't, I don't think understand just how good he is, how efficient he is, how he stuffs his stat sheet like nobody's business.
Right.
How he doesn't even try to stuff the stat sheet and stuffs the stat sheet. He's not a guy who's out there looking and hunting for a triple double. He's just not. So I think a lot of people miss who and what he is, but I think it's almost like you downgrade him because Halliburton looks like, the next, well, it looks like Steve Nash,
Yeah.
like he is the next Steve Nash or whatever. And so at the end of the day, I think that, like, I consider the trade not just a win-win.
Hmm.
I consider it a huge win for Sacramento. Like,
Yeah.
the Kings spent 16 years in not mediocrity, in like basketball hell.
Yeah.
And this guy walks in the door and you make the playoffs.
Hmm.
And you make the playoffs with, again, De'Aaron Fox becomes a star
Hmm.
playing alongside him. So
Hmm.
you don't just have one star. He instantly helped create a second star. Not that Fox hadn't already raised his game to a certain
I was gonna
plateau.
say I'm not giving Sabonis that much credit, man. Sorry.
No, you have to. Like, he wasn't considered a star before. I'll tell you what.
No, he's considered a star now because the team is good. I don't think Domantas Sabonis' arrival made De'Aaron Fox suddenly like, oh, hey, De'Aaron Fox is good now. I think he was trending that way regardless. It's just now they're a playoff team, so the stats matter.
No, I get what you're saying there, but I would tell you that, De'Aaron Fox 2 years ago, 3 seasons ago,
Mm-hmm.
had better stats than he did last year.
Mm-hmm.
Just better stats.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't considered a star then.
Right, because they weren't winning.
Yeah, but Sabonis walks in the door and he helps create that second star. That just in my opinion, I don't think De'Aaron Fox gets mentioned in the same ballpark if it wasn't for the fact that they start winning, and I don't think they start winning without Domantas Sabonis.
No, I buy that. I think we're saying a little bit the same thing. I'm just misinterpreting what you're saying, I think.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the only reason that De'Aaron Fox is a star is because of Sabonis, but he helped create a second star here. He would not have been an all-star if it wasn't for Domantas Sabonis walking in the door. It doesn't matter what his stats say. He wasn't going to be there until they started winning, and they weren't going to start winning until Domantas Sabonis walked in the door.
Right.
Like, if you made all the same moves, if you had Halliburton with, and you went out and you got Malik Monk, and you went out and got Kevin Huerter, and did all the same moves, that's not a playoff team.
That's so many guards.
Yeah, it is, but it's
a
just,
lot of guards.
It's not a playoff team.
No, it's not. It's definitely not.
Yeah.
Unless they fall backwards into, I don't know, I don't even Walker Kessler or something.
Well, I think we should also, like, there is this moment where they trade for Sabonis, but then that season falls apart, and Fox sits out the last, I don't know, 6 or 8 games, and Barnes sat out a bunch of games. Sabonis, his wife had a baby and he missed a couple of games. Anyway, they kind of shut that season down, and it'll be like an asterisk way off in the distance and people forget. But because that happened, the Kings fell to like number 8, and then they actually moved up in the lottery to number 4. And that's where you get Keegan Murray, who could become the third piece. Without all of those things happening at that one time, it's just kind of, it's kismet how it all comes together.
Yeah.
And so I think that they're on a good path, Kyle, but I don't think that we're ever going to be able to separate Sabonis and Halliburton. And I think we should just appreciate that both are really, really, really good players, and both of them have a legitimate shot at making the Hall of Fame. And you just hope that Sabonis continues on the pace that he's kind of set as his standard for the last 5 years.
Yeah, I think anybody who pays attention knows, but it wouldn't surprise me if 10, 15, 20 years down the road, there's some prevailing opinion that, like, oh man, the Kings traded Tyrese Halliburton. Oh boy. Oh. And that's just because like there just needs to be a hard take on everything, and going, yeah, hey, the Kings got better and the Pacers got better, and that's just kind of what it is. I just don't know how you look at, if you're being objective and you look at the direction both teams have gone since then. I just don't know how you're trying to figure out one way or the other, like, oh well, this team benefited more from the trade than this team did, or whatever. Like, Tyrese Halliburton wouldn't be the player he is without the move.
Yeah.
And I think same thing, like Domantas Sabonis was good in Indiana, and a really, really good player, and like hey, he might go for a triple double, but he took a step forward in Sacramento, and the Kings followed. So
I think it's okay. The one deciding thing would be if one of them makes a Hall of Fame and the other one doesn't. And like everyone can say like instantly, oh, Sabonis is, that Halliburton's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Halliburton's got a long ways to go to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
And
for
like
sure.
he's on a path, but injuries and everything else can derail a career very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And so like we don't know for sure, but I will say that like Sabonis is well on his way. And so it just, I think that might be like the defining thing, but it's okay for both teams to win a trade. It is. And I don't understand why that.
That's how most trades are designed to go, by the way.
Yeah, but very rarely does it happen.
No doubt. No doubt. But the idea that both teams want to trade shouldn't be a foreign idea. It's just, that trade worked.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes a team gets fleeced, and there are definitely exceptions where there's a trade and on the surface immediately it's like, oh my God, what are they doing? The Pau Gasol trade to the Lakers. Like that right away was like, and didn't they get Marc Gasol? Didn't the Grizzlies get Marc Gasol in that?
And that's
deal?
what happens. They got Marc Gasol.
Yeah, they fell backwards.
Pick.
Right, they fell backwards into Marc Gasol there. But on the surface, it's like, oh, this is ugly.
Yeah, but I think all trades have to be looked at. Like you have to have some distance from it.
Yeah,
look at like the Herschel Walker trade,
mm-hmm.
right? To where Dallas trades him to Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
They get Jack Del Rio, and then they got like a boatload of picks and some other players. But it ends up being like the biggest like swing in two franchises ever. You basically built a dynasty off of one trade. Dallas did, and they successfully built a dynasty. And so, yeah, that trade, like in hindsight, is crazy. At the time, it was like, okay, that's crazy, but Herschel Walker's a star, and like he's going to Minnesota. Like the way it was viewed the day it happened versus like 3 years later was like stunning. And then the fact that Dallas just went on to win and win and win, it became like, wow, okay, this is pretty intense.
And Minnesota's never won a title.
No.
Oof.
Yeah.
And so those are always fun, like sliding doors moments in sports. Like we know Dallas is like the team of the 90s. They were how about them Cowboys? And it's Troy Aikman, and it's Michael Irvin, it's Emmitt Smith, and oh my God. But what does the NFL landscape look like if the Herschel Walker trade just never happens? Because the Vikings don't just automatically, with the draft picks, they draft all the same players the Cowboys did.
No, of course not.
Like everything works out different. That's so weird.
Yeah, and I mean, I think even in the NBA, you can go back through history and see like crazy trades that happen. I mean, Robert Tractor Trailer, RIP, was the number 6 pick, and 3 picks later was Dirk Nowitzki, and they traded 9 for 6 and got other stuff to move down to take Dirk.
Dang.
I mean, that happened. Olden Polynice was selected and traded for Scottie Pippen. And like that swap happened. Like they again, Olden Polynice, I believe, was a higher pick than Scottie Pippen, and Seattle traded Scottie Pippen to the Bulls on draft night. Like there's a lot of things that happen in the league. Even Vince Carter and Antoine Jameson on draft night. What were they, 4 and 5? And Antoine Jameson was number 4, and he was number 5. And one goes on to be like a surefire Hall of Famer, and the other one was a decent player. But, there's a lot of trades that go on in the history of sports that just end up looking way different than you thought they would have at the time.
The Warriors almost traded Steph to Phoenix for Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah.
That's
crazy. And their dynasty would have never happened.
Never, ever. And then Klay Thompson almost got traded for Kevin Love. And I think it was Jerry West nixed that idea.
Yeah. And I mean, like we talk about this with the Kings all the time. I mean, the Kings drafted Thomas Robinson, and the next pick was Damian Lillard. The Kings drafted Jimmer Fredette, number 10, and then Klay Thompson, Steven Adams go, Kawhi Leonard. And
the CJ McCollum deal.
CJ McCollum. Oh, yeah, that was Ben McLemore. And the number 15, 16 pick in that draft, Jeff Petrie, according to lore, had a dossier on Giannis Antetokounmpo and kept telling Pete D'Alessandro and his staff to draft.
All right, hang on.
Yeah.
You may or may not know this, and this may or may not be public info. This may or may not be private info. I don't know. Do you believe that? Or is this a Danny Ainge thing where Danny Ainge was about to draft or trade for or whatever every good player ever?
No, because it was right afterwards, we started hearing, and I don't know if you remember how that whole thing happened.
I have no recollection.
But 2 weeks before the draft, Jeff Petrie and his staff
living in California when that happened.
Yeah, so that's when Vivek buys a team, right? And Jeff Petrie and his staff had stayed on and were helping Pete D'Alessandro, Chris Mullin go through the draft process, right? And this is in 2013. At the last second, like maybe it was a week before the draft, maybe 2 weeks before the draft, they fired Jeff and his staff and just said goodbye. So it was a bad day. I went into Paul Martin's down the street to have a drink after a bad day of craziness. And sure enough, they're Wayne Cooper and Jeff Petrie sitting there, and I sent over a glass of wine. God bless R.I.P. Wayne Cooper. He drank expensive wine that cost me a lot. Jeff Petrie was much more affordable. He's not drinking
the happy hour cab, huh?
No. But it was like a moment frozen in time. And then on the way out the door, people forget that Pete D'Alessandro absconded with all the Kings' iPads and took all their draft strategy a week before the draft.
Dang.
Like life comes at you fast here in Sacramento.
Boy, does it.
In case you missed it. But yeah, there's like maybe it's a little bit of lore, but I do know that Jeff Petrie had scouted Giannis Antetokounmpo. He knew exactly who Giannis was. He did not know exactly who Giannis would become.
Right. But
he
wanted
did
to take
know
a flyer.
He was like heading towards. But yeah.
Do you know who got taken one pick ahead of Giannis Antetokounmpo?
I don't, because that's one of the worst drafts.
Yeah. Anthony Bennett won.
Yep.
Otto Porter Jr., love him, but third overall, that's nuts.
What do we got? The only guy who panned out at all was Oladipo, and even that his career ended quickly because of. He still plays, but his career like petered out because of injury. Alex Len
was 5.
Yep.
Cody Zeller's still in the league.
Nerlens Noel is number 7. 6, and then Ben McLemore 7. Yeah.
Contavious Caldwell Pope 8. Hey, KCP's had a nice little career.
Yeah.
Carved out a nice little career for himself. Trey Burke 9, Michigan legend.
C. Jim McCollum 10.
Yep.
And Steven Adams 11.
Nope.
12.
Rookie of the year.
Oh, Michael Carter Williams
was 11. Yep.
Steven
Adams 12.
Yep.
Kelly Olynyk 13. Oh. Really good career. That's a nice pick by the Celtics. Well, Mavericks traded to the Celtics. Number 14. One pick ahead of Giannis Antetokounmpo. Stockton Kings legend Shabazz Muhammad. Let's go.
Oh,
come on. Let's go. Yeah. Dennis Schroeder 17. It's so funny how there are just some drafts where like every team is freaked out about getting lottery picks. Oh, lottery picks. But then there's some drafts like this one where outside the lottery you have Dennis Schroeder.
Yep.
Mason Plumlee, Tim Hardaway Jr., Reggie Bullock, Rudy Gobert.
Oh yeah, Gobert was 27. I remember Rudy Gobert coming in for his workout, and he was one of those dudes who likes to take his shirt off, and he literally looked like he had just like pumped iron, and he was sitting on the floor, leaning back, like kind of like looking over at the media, like, oh, I'm buff, and then he goes to stand up. And his legs are this big around. His legs, like they're the size of a boulder marble. Like, and you're like, oh no, is he gonna fall over? Like, what is happening? Yeah, he's grown up a lot. Yeah,
has he?
Maybe not. I will say this. Like, it's one of the joys of being in Sacramento is that for years you got to cover the draft and you got to see these guys before they were anything. Right. They might have been like really good college players.
Sure.
But even the really good college players, most of the time did not show up for media. So like we can get, I remember Steven Adams coming in for his pre-draft workout and, calling all of us mate a bunch of times. And like, it was just like, oh man, you got to draft this guy. Like he's spectacular. Just like even then
just pick him. I don't know if he's good.
But then Clay walked in and we interviewed Clay and my friend Sean Cunningham, I believe it was Sean, asked Clay about he had just had a marijuana possession issue in
Clay did
after college.
What?
Yes. And
Clay smokes weed?
Clay got very, very uptight and not at all comfortable with what was happening. and we became a very awkward situation.
That's
and then I
whack.
said this story the other day. Michael Carter Williams walked in. Oh yeah. I'm like Jason Kidd, but not like the bad old Jason Kidd that you see now. It's like, man, Jason Kidd is still really good.
Jason Kidd might be better now.
but like Jason Kidd in his prime, and it's like, okay, bro, we just heard that you missed like 99 of your shots, of your 100 shots. Yeah, so they're like, that's why I love the draft, man. The draft is really cool because you get to see these kids, Kawhi Leonard just not saying a word, like long before they're anything, and it's kind of fun.
Can I confess something?
Uh-oh.
While we're talking about this, nobody. This is just between you and me. Nobody listen. I miss when the 49ers had like early picks.
Oh yeah.
Like just from the content perspective.
Oh yeah.
Like writing about a top 10 pick is so much more fun than writing about the 27th pick.
Yeah, I told you I'm planning a vacation for the last week in June this year. I can do free agency from remotely like I did last year. And, I'm breaking stories from my hotel room in PV. But this year, like I'm looking at it, like the Kings don't have a draft pick. They don't have a first round pick. And I don't know if they'll have a second round pick when it's all said and done.
It's so much more fun to cover a good team. Like without question, undeniably, it is more fun to cover a team that is winning and making the playoffs.
Yes.
No doubt, 1000%. And if you're a fan who loves the draft, you feel the same way about your favorite team. Like you would way rather they be good and have the last pick in the draft because they won the title than have the first pick in the draft because they sucked. Like that is unequivocal. However, it's more fun to cover the draft when, like, the last couple of years, the 49ers haven't even had their first round pick because of the Trey Lance trade.
Yeah.
But that 2021 draft was electric, right? Mac Jones, Trey Lance. What if, maybe they traded up for Kyle Pitts or whatever. Like, it was just a whirlwind of, and then 2 years in a row with no first round pick.
Oh, it's such a bummer.
Late second round in 2022. And then this past year, didn't pick until, they traded to like 88 to get Jair Brown. It's like,
yeah.
Wait till late on day 2 for, it's just kind of,
I know, I
miss it.
Like draft night, I do. Like draft night is so much better when you have a high pick. Even this last year, we get all the way up to right before the pick, and the Kings trade the 24 to Dallas with Rashawn Holmes. And it's like, oh man. And then even I think they traded their early second round pick and kept the one with Colby Jones. They moved back or something. And so, yeah, there's a lot of times where the draft means everything to a franchise. Like, and I know this because I covered years and years. I mean, I think 2 years in a row, the Kings had 3 first round picks. So Yorgos, Malachi, and Scal. And then they brought over Bogdan that year. And then the next year is De'Aaron, Justin Jackson, Harry Giles, Frank Mason in the second round. Like, that's a lot of draft coverage.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I mean, for NBC, during the lockout, during the pandemic, I wrote 23 mock drafts.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so many mock drafts.
23 mock drafts.
I feel like I'm really cranking out a mock drafts when I'm doing like 8.
Yeah.
23 is so
the only thing I wish, Kyle, is that they would have put those under Kings numbers, not Warriors numbers. Because then, maybe it would have looked better for my employment status the next year.
Yeah. Sorry,
Just saying.
Yeah. I mentioned Jair Brown. Tyler Jennings asking if he's starting at safety this week. Yeah, he is back in practice. Tayshaun Gibson also back in practice. The only member of the 49ers defense, the only member of the 49ers who looks like he's going to be out this week is Cleveland Ferrell. I think everybody else is going to be back. Yeah, and guys, I know Clay smokes. That was the bit.
Yeah.
Like I was being sarcastic.
Kyle.
I thought I was sorry. That's my fault. You know what? That's my fault. I shouldn't have tried to make jokes.
That's funny.
It's fine.
It doesn't always work on the radio. I don't know, Kyle.
No, I did. You know, I always say that about Twitter. I'm like, you know what? My sarcasm doesn't really work. I thought for sure the inflection of the voice and the facial expression would really give it away, but no, it's my fault. You know who else was taken in this draft? Ray McCallum.
Oh yeah, Ray McCallum.
Big Ray McCallum guy.
I was there when great
summer league.
When Michael Malone said, "Hey, can you please get me a point guard? Isaiah Thomas was hurt. Everyone was hurt at the end of the season. And they were running Ray McCallum out there for 47 minutes a game. And you know what? How Pete D'Alessandro responded? He signed Royce White.
Oh my God! Isn't that the guy who wouldn't fly?
Yes. Oh, I think he was running for Congress this last year.
Yeah. I think that's right.
Yeah.
On the banned planes ticket.
Yeah. On the slightly unstable ticket.
Yeah.
I don't think Royce White ever scored a point in the NBA. And I think he was a 10th pick in the draft.
You could tell me anything about Royce White and I believe you.
Okay.
Is Hufanga available? No, Talanoa Hufanga, just getting back to the Niners injury stuff real quick. Talanoa Hufanga's out for the year. Torn ACL, you're done.
Yeah.
So, no.
I think
he's
the only one I ever
on
saw.
IR and won't be coming back.
Remember Jerry Rice came back from a torn ACL in season and then broke his kneecap in the first game. Yeah.
Was it Adrian Peterson also? It wasn't the same season, but he came back from a torn ACL in like 4 months. Yeah. And then Cam Akers, the Rams running back, recently blew out his Achilles in the preseason and came back during the season.
Oh,
like that's
wild.
Dude, modern medicine, man.
Royce White was the 16th pick overall in the 2012 NBA draft. He never scored an NBA point. He played 3 games total, 9 minutes total, all with the Sacramento.
Iowa State?
Yeah, I think he was a Cyclone.
Yeah, Iowa State.
Yeah.
Wonder if Brock Purdy knows him.
There you go.
All right. Anyways. Speaking of Brock Purdy, speaking of the 49ers, we have a Pro Football Hall of Famer joining us next. He invented the Lambeau Leap. He is a Green Bay Packers legend. He is Leroy Butler, a thorn in the side of the 49ers through the mid to late 90s when the Packers were just knocking the Niners out of the playoffs every single year. One of my favorite people to talk football with. He will be joining us next on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader.
Yeah, Terrell Suggs came back from a torn Achilles in approximately 4 weeks. You know what? I read yesterday, I did not know this. Terrence Davis popped his Achilles.
Leroy's going to join us on the stream.
Oh. Yeah, so Terrence Davis, who has been playing in the G League, tore his Achilles, and so he is not available for anyone out there who is. And that's a difficult one right there.
That sucks. Hate that for TD, man.
Yep.
Yeah, we did a ton of stuff with Odyssey's Milwaukee station, RIP. When I was in 95.7, we do a ton of simulcasts with Leroy's show. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna,
bro.
I wasn't gonna let y'all down and be late.
No, of course not. I knew you wouldn't. How you doing, man?
Hey, listen. Sometimes these players, man, they are divas. You gotta call them, email them, and they'll tell you the dog ate their homework. I'm a grown man.
We had someone tell us they couldn't make it because they got COVID, right?
Yeah.
We won't say who that was.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm sick.
I'm sick. We didn't ask you to come in the studio.
I don't need you to sneeze on me, man. I just need to talk for a little bit.
Yeah, you can have whatever you want to have. Just get these answers.
That's right.
What you been up to, man?
It'll take too long to tell you, but I'm gonna tell you this. I grew up a Cowboys fan my whole life, and it's been wonderful lately. I'm serious. And now that they're going to keep McCarthy, is awesome.
I can't believe they're doing that, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I heard. I think I know. Jerry Jones too cheap to pay somebody just to sit. He ain't doing it. He ain't gonna just pay you. Remember, you make Jason Garrett and let him play it out.
Yeah, multiple times.
Yeah, he's not. No, he's not doing that. No.
That's wild. That's wild.
Yep. All right, we got about 1 minute till we're back, guys.
Yeah,
and I don't think he would. I don't think he was gonna hire Belichick either. I mean, no, Belichick needs 15 wins, and he wants to have some control with Jerry Jones. two old guys yelling, that'll never work. It'll be like grumpy old
That's awesome.
I was going through, I did this piece for the site I write for. I was going through all the Niners-Packers playoff games and just kind of writing about each one. And, dude, I got to tell you, the Leroy Butler name kept coming up. And, you know, I can't stand that guy.
Yeah.
Like, tackled by Leroy Butler.
Those were
Pass
fun.
defended by Leroy Butler. Like, man.
Thank you so much.
I like your quarter zip. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry.
Your quarter zip.
Sometimes I do forget. Like 371 guys or something in it, but it was. Thank you so much. It's kind of embarrassing to talk about sometimes because sometimes.
Okay, I'm asking about it right away. By the way, it's the first thing I'm going to ask.
Right. I got a good answer.
All right, here we go. We're coming back in 10 seconds. Here we go, guys.
Okay.
All right, let's dive right in. Packers legend, inventor of the Lambeau Leap, and the first time I've gotten to say this, I haven't talked to you since then, Pro Football Hall of Famer Leroy Butler joining us now. Leroy, congratulations, man. That's so cool. And you pull up in your Pro Football Hall of Fame quarter zip. I love it for you, man. Congrats.
Well, first of all, it's 14 degrees here, in and outside. It don't matter because my wife only let me tick it up so much. Me and my son, full disclosure, we like it about 68 heat. But my wife and daughters like it 80 degrees. So I don't get it, but so we have to always dress accordingly indoors.
Oh, brutal.
That's wild. But let's be honest, you have a gold jacket to keep you warm now, right? Like,
you know what?
How does it feel?
Yes. And shout out to Hager at Men's Warehouse because I was a little like perplexed how it worked. And I didn't know you're just gonna have all these people around you like you was a wedding. And they size you up and then you get a chance to wear it on special occasions. Then I really didn't know that you get a ring. And somebody asked me, how does it feel to get into the Hall of Fame? And I said, it's like a wedding. Think about you thinking every year some guy's going to propose to you, and he doesn't. And you wait around for 16 years like I did, and you just give up because all your girlfriends, girl, he should marry you. Those are the fans are saying, you should be in before Lynch. You should be in before this guy. But you just listen to it and say, girl, I done given up. And then you think about it, you give up. And Charles Woodson is knocking at your door with the ring. And I said yes, by the way. So I know it feels like to all those women, for guys that haven't stepped up to manhood, because we keep putting it off for whatever reason. But when you go through that cycle, though, because every guy, every finalist think he should get in. But once you're in, you forget about all those 16 years that he was supposed to propose in front of your family at your favorite restaurant. You forget about all that. Let's plan this wedding. So, but I also represent some of the guys like my teammates. If it wasn't for my teammates, there's no way I could be wearing this on my chest because one thing coming to mind is Desmond Howard. Shout out to Michigan for Woodson and Desmond. We played San Francisco in the rain because it may rain Saturday. Mm-hmm. Desmond Howard took the game over.
Yep.
Took it over. Yep. And that's what it feels like. I mean, you need people like this in certain elements to step up. So I just love my teammates.
Yeah, he had a touchdown in that game, and then he had a long return that set up a short touchdown. He was a heck of a player, man. What do you do with the gold jacket? Is it hanging up somewhere? Do you wear it?
That's a good question. Because I normally don't wear it to like speaking engagements because there's a cost to it. Because you can like build your brand, and then you can say, you want me to wear the jacket? Well, yeah, that'll cost you X amount more.
I see.
And some of the cheap companies are like, no, but the good ones are like, yeah, it's worth for every one of our guys and girls to take a picture with you. I don't wear it to church every Sunday and stuff like that.
I'm wearing that thing around the house in my underwear. I'm like eating a ham sandwich in that thing. I'm just like, hey, you like my gold slippers? I got gold slippers to go with my gold jacket, and I got gold boxers. There you go.
That's a good idea. I don't know if my wife will approve, but that'd be like risky business, right? Tom Cruise did it.
I'm sliding in everywhere, just like, oh, you see me in my gold jacket? Yeah. That's
it's
right.
pretty amazing though. But for me, I had a few people, like my kids tried it on, and I thought it was great. My good friend Charlie Barons, who's a good comedian in the state of Wisconsin, he's touring now all over. I talked to him the other day. He was in Fargo. I said, I didn't know people in Fargo had comedy. It's so cold up there, but he's there, sold out
from the Hulu series.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man, it's a long way, and sold out. So thank you to people in Fargo for supporting my friend. But I wanted people just to see it when I go to schools. I had a mental health event, and I had it hanging up with my bust. And I told a story about my bust, and I had the jacket hanging up, and kids were taking pictures with it. That makes me feel good.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
That's really, really cool. Talking with Leroy Butler, Green Bay Packers legend, Pro Football Hall of Famer, class of 2022.
Now, who am I talking to? Tell the people who I'm talking to. Y'all the stars.
Well, people listen, hopefully no. I'm Kyle. That's James. We don't have gold jackets though around here, and you notice that Leroy's not wearing the gold jacket. We couldn't afford that. We couldn't afford that. He said, I'll wear the quarters it for free. That's like, all right, bro, thank you. No, do Packers fans view this matchup with San Francisco as a rivalry? Because Green Bay dominated this postseason matchup for so long, but the 49ers have won the last 4. This is the 10th time they met in the postseason since '96. Do Packers fans view this as any kind of rivalry?
Not quite, but hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
The rivalry really is the Bears. It's the oldest rivalry
right.
in all of sports. But when it's one-sided, is it really a rivalry? But yes, it is, because as we're doing this, I live in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, which is near like Racine, Kenosha. That's not far from Chicago. So it's a lot of Bears fans live in the city or in the state, really. But to your point, I think that team has cost Matt LaFleur 2 trips to the Super Bowl. So it's a team that you want to beat. You know, you have your brother, Kyle Shanahan. I mean, he knows all these guys. I mean, so, you know, but the difference is, this is a profound statement, because I want you to really have an open mind with this. So we're in therapy, okay?
Perfect.
This is the best team that Matt LaFleur will take to play them. And I know people say, well, wait a minute. They had a Hall of Fame quarterback. Mm-hmm. They had Devontae Adams. They had all these great players. He won 39 games in his first 3 years, broke Seifert record. Fine. That was a band with a lead singer. Mm. This is an orchestra with Matt LaFleur up there with that little white thing. I need everybody from the percussion section to the guy over there with the triangle, like I used to play in the band, to be on the same accord.
Yeah.
That's how we won the last, 7 or 9 games or whatever. Mm-hmm. Because in the playoffs, you need an orchestra. Nobody picked these last 8 teams. Baker Mayfield, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love. Wait a minute. He's playing. Nobody picked these teams.
Right.
But that's why it's a rivalry in a sense, but it's the team that really has cost you a Super Bowl trip. Raheem Mostert's still running, and he's with the Dolphins.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. We watched the Cowboys. They imploded, but your Packers were right there for, on the scene to cause that implosion. Just how much do you weigh that it was the Cowboys falling apart versus this is a team that's on a roll in the Packers and that they're growing into who they might be?
Excellent question. I thought I had my little koozie thing here because I have a saying: two things can be true. They succumb to the pressure, and this young team, they're not scared of anything around the corner because they don't know what's around the corner. They've never been to AT&T Stadium. Most of these guys either right now be, at probably the roller rink or something, or play arcade games or driving around in go-karts because they may not even can have driver's license. I mean, these some young guys. So they're not scared to go in there to play. And they believe in each other. For example, Jalen Reed's been our guy, 793 yards. He's our number one guy. He's missed a few games. He's been banged up. Bo Melton caught one pass. Reed didn't get any against Dallas. They didn't turn over the water. They didn't go knock the kicking net down. They didn't scream to the media. They don't throw me the ball. They just wait. It ain't our week. It's for Wicks. Okay. Musgrave just got back. It's for Romeo Dobbs. Romeo, oh Romeo, wherefore art thou? That was off the cuff, by the way.
That's
so
really
that's
well
why
done.
That's why they're winning, guys. We don't have a number one that we have to force the ball to. Early on, when Jordan Love was doing that to Watson, who also didn't, I think he caught maybe one ball. 5 of his 9 interceptions came, or his 11 interceptions, trying to force it to Watson. So they went back, and now they run the system. Who's ever open. It's so unselfish. These guys love each other. That's why they won.
Yeah, ton of talent on that team. All kind of feels like you said, Wicks, Jaden Reed, Luke Musgrave. They all just they all meshed at the same time. And you get Jordan Love playing really, really well. As we talked to Leroy Butler, Pro Football Hall of Famer, former defensive back for the Green Bay Packers. What has Jordan Love specifically improved on throughout the course of the year in your eyes?
Man, you guys are a platinum show. That's another good question because
great.
He's the same guy, but look at his demeanor. You don't know whether he threw for 300 or 200. Same guy. Go back and look at his interviews when he was 2-5. Same guy. So now when he blows up 21 touchdowns to 1 turnover, same guy. But here's where it really hits you. When you say to yourself, don't turn the ball over. Don't throw interceptions. We can beat anybody. Because guess what? Yes, I'm the straw that stirs the drink. But the flavor is Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
If Aaron Jones is running the ball, not only does my play action work, my misdirection work, it confuses defenses. That's why you see guys so wide open. But Rodgers really didn't like motion. He said it. I don't really like motion. I don't like that. I like to go to the line and check and do my own thing. Fine. LaFleur loves motion. So does Jaden Reed. So does Bo Melton. Everybody's moving around. And then you got tight ends. Next thing you know, 33 is out the door. That's just a good system. And that's why Jordan Love said, you know what? Maybe this game is not as hard as people think if I do exactly what my coaches tell me to do. And then sometime, it's on me. The Wicks touchdown. I see, they bring a casino blitz. Okay, Tucker, Kraft, come in. Who's a rookie? Come in. I need you. Taylor, come in too. I need max protection because I got the coverage I want. And Wicks, you know what to run. You know what to run 8 because you're going to have good leverage. And with 1 second left on the clock, he told Jalen Reed to go in motion.
That was a dot, too.
A lot of moving parts that your quarterback has learned for these 3 years. And I'm proud of him because he wants the smoke to become a great quarterback.
Yep. You know, when you look at this this Niners team, I mean, you're a defensive back. You're looking across and you see their weapons. And again, you talk about unselfish, like very unselfish. This team takes turns. They, whether it's Kittle or it's Debo, whether it's Ayuk or it's McCaffrey out of the backfield. They seem to really take turns. If you were to line up against that team, what would be your biggest concern? Because, man, they can really put up points in a hurry and they get on top of you quick.
Well, Kyle Shanahan is a genius. Two things. I'm upset with him because his dad beat me in Super Bowl 32, as am I with McCaffrey. Don't like him either because his dad beat me in Super Bowl 32. Here's when you're a genius, because sometimes people throw that around a lot. Here's when you know you have a genius. People know what he's running. It's his system.
Yep.
Can't stop it. And let's be fair to everybody on the West Coast and the East Coast where Philly is. If Brock Purdy don't get hurt, last year they're in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You think so?
Yes. They didn't have a passing game.
Yeah.
I mean, once he gets hurt, it's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
But to the people who say, well, Trey Lance was a bust and they 3 first-rounders, yeah, they messed that up. No, they didn't, because they took Brock Purdy with the last pick. John Lynch did what every GM should do. Cover your back.
Mm-hmm.
Now Mr. Irrelevant should get what Justin Herbert and all those guys get. I hate to say that, John, I'm sorry. But these are 2 quarterbacks that listen to their coaches and run the system.
Yep.
Because you just got to make sure Debo is like Jalen Reed. He's the move guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Brandon Ayuk, however you say his name, we wanted him in the draft in 2020, but we got Love. So we know the talent. And then when John went way across the United States and got McCaffrey, like, oh, this guy trying to go to a Super Bowl. So we know the weapons, but everybody in the league knows that system, but nobody can defend it if it's always moving. And that's the reason why these 2 offenses, they mirror each other.
Yeah. What did as we talk with Leroy Butler, Pro Football Hall of Famer, Green Bay Packers legend, inventor of the Lambeau Leap, obviously. Because when I was following and watching the Packers going into the postseason, it was like, man, this defense is really struggling. I think they're going to have a little bit of trouble with Dallas, with CeeDee Lamb and all the weapons they have over there. But they kind of locked them up until, the end of the game when it was out of hand and Dallas started moving the ball. What did they do differently against Dallas that they weren't doing toward the end of the year?
I think they confused Dallas because they thought that we were going to put Jair Alexander, who was questionable before the game time decision. We were going to put him on CeeDee Lamb in the slot. They didn't do that. They kept it the integrity of the defense. And by the time they figured out what they were doing, it was too late because McCarthy was the smartest guy in the room. He threw the ball 60 times. What he should have did is ran the ball 60 times. See, CeeDee Lamb got to be unselfish and say, you know what, this ain't my week. I may get 3 or 4 targets because Pollard's going to get 260 like Raheem Mostert did. Or like the 5 times during the year that teams ran over 200 yards. But no, they got to get the ball to CeeDee Lamb. And that was the pick 6 from Savage, like we talked about. Yep. And now you got to force the ball. So this defense wants you to throw the ball. That's how they get after you. The weakness is stopping the run. And to be honest with you, they played pretty good with that as well. But it's something that you have to stick to. And that's something Kyle Shanahan, in this weather, he's going to run the ball. So the Packers must stack the box and make Brock Purdy have a career day in the rain, if it rains.
Yep, I agree.
Who do you think is going to win this game? I mean, I think this is a really good matchup, but it's a team that maybe is a year or 2 ahead of the Packers and the 49ers. But like, what's your feeling on this one?
Probably 3 years ahead, let's be honest, because it's all Kittle and all these guys, who I think is the best tight end. I mean, George Kittle's the best tight end.
Better than Taylor Swift's boyfriend?
Yes. And shout out to Taylor Swift. You saved the NFL. You saved the NFL. Because without your fan base, the numbers would have been like in the middle. Thank you. That aside, Kelsey has not had the year that he normally has. It has nothing to do with her, by the way. It's just funny. George Kittle blocks. He's unselfish. He's smart. He doesn't drop passes. And he has nice hair. All those things are great things. So,
No doubt.
But with that being said, I'm looking for an upset. And I'm not just saying that because I have a Packer jersey over my shoulder. I think the Packer young guys looks forward to the challenge of going in and shocking the world again, because it was fun doing it to Dallas.
Yeah.
And whenever the weather changes, it levels the playing field. So I'm looking for the Packers to win 30-17. And you say, well, wait a minute, Butler. They're not going to score 17 points. They got all these weapons. Wait. The 3 games they lost in a row, they scored 17 points.
Yep.
We scored 30, we usually win. So that's what I'm thinking.
Leroy, you have been fantastic as always. You've been super generous with your time. We appreciate you so much. You got anything to plug before we get out of here?
Yes, anywhere you download a podcast, just go to the Leap 36 podcast. Me and my former teammate, player, Gary Ellison. I love the guy. We have one of the best podcasts. If you want to listen to Packers and amongst other topics, but yeah, just download the Leap 36 podcast.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. You guys are both super entertaining. Can't wait to listen. Thank you so much for joining us today, man. We really appreciate you.
Absolutely,
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And out of all the interviews I've done, this is the best questions I've had since 2024.
We're cutting that and saving it.
That's a drop. Okay. That's a drop.
No doubt, Leroy. Thank you so much for your time, buddy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Leroy Butler, Green Bay Packers legend, inventor of the Lambeau Leap, and Pro Football Hall of Famer class of 2022. Nice enough to spend 20 minutes with us, man. He is just the very best.
Absolutely amazing.
So much.
Yeah, that's thanks for setting that up, Kyle. To be honest, like it's not often you get to talk to somebody who not only is a Hall of Famer, but who's hilarious and like took us all over the place. And
he's one of those people that, and I know you've come across him where you go, you know what? I don't want to take too much of their time, but so like, okay, 20, I told him like 15, took 20, like, okay, thank, but I could talk to him for 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
I have so many questions.
Yeah. He's so much fun.
Yeah. So here's the thing with his prediction, the 30-17 one. I don't agree. I don't think that's how the game is going to go.
Okay.
But in a scenario, if the Packers score first and if it is raining, Brock Purdy's having trouble throwing the ball, they're stacking 8-man boxes, they're slowing down the run, and all of a sudden they get up 10-0 or 14-0, and they're forcing the 49ers to try and come back. I could see it getting out of hand like that. I mean, there's a path to it. I'm like I said, I wouldn't bet on that, but I don't think that's a completely outrageous, especially if you're, in the Packers Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You're going to make a prediction. I don't think it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, I expect the 49ers to win.
I do too.
I just, number one, they're a better team, but there's something about not knowing what you don't know. Right. And that's kind of what he was alluding to with the young players. Like they don't know what's around the corner. They don't know what they don't know. And so you're walking into a game and you don't have any history where, the 49ers have history of walking into the NFC Championship game last year and watching their quarterback get his elbow trashed in the first, few minutes of the game. And like, there's some history there of like frustration and, like getting to a certain point and not losing and losing it. And, I think there is something about a team that just walks in with a clean slate, a bunch of young guys and like, all right, let's do this.
When I think the whole you don't know what you don't know thing gets to a limit. Like there's a reason that young and experienced teams don't often make deep runs in the playoffs in any sport. Like we talk about that with the Kings last year. It's a thing with OKC this year. Like Oklahoma City, like, okay, they're a really good regular season team, but I don't think I'd bet on them to win a title because they just haven't they haven't gone through the rigors of a postseason.
Yeah.
And okay, you don't know maybe that gets them a first round series, but eventually the experience takes over. And maybe that's this round, maybe it's next round, but eventually the whole like, hey, they're just not afraid of the moment thing eventually runs out.
Well, I mean, it's like Game 7 of the Kings-Warriors series.
Yeah.
There comes a point where the other team just has been there so many times, and they understand.
Mm-hmm.
They get it. They understand to sit down and relax during long timeouts.
Mm-hmm.
They understand how to make adjustments on the fly. What's working, what's not. How to keep feeding something that's working.
Yeah.
How to get under someone's skin. Like they just do.
Mm-hmm.
And the Kings are on their path to that now. And even like year 2, year 3, like where do they go? But I kind of it's very similar. Like there is a pathway to get great in every sport. And it doesn't usually just happen in 1 year where you just go from, okay or mediocre or like you got a new quarterback to all of a sudden you're great. It doesn't usually work that way, especially with a bunch of young players.
Yeah. Jordan Love is playing so well right now, though.
Yeah. He's on a heater.
I like I said, I'm expecting the 49ers to win, but I'm not taking any result off the table. I just, with what they did to Dallas last week, and if defensively they're as good as they were last week.
Yeah, what you're hoping is that they don't have a why not us mentality, and I think they probably do, but like they walk in there and why not us? Okay.
Yeah,
I get it.
I think we're going to learn a lot about how the game goes in the first, probably in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I think the longer it stays close, I think the more it benefits the 49ers.
Oh.
But again, if the Packers jump out to a quick lead, if they're up 7-0, 10-0 after the first quarter, and the Niners got to come from behind, now they can get behind Aaron Jones. Now they can run their play action stuff. Everything Laurie Butler said on that, I couldn't agree more with. Jordan Love was really good this year, but in play action specifically, when you go look at his splits between play action and non-play action, he's very good. When play action is working, when they're in a spot where they're second and short and they can bring linebackers up to the line on play fakes and maybe get a safety to crash down or get out of position where you guys get running free down the field, like that's when he has been really, really good this year, like elite. So if they can keep Green Bay from being in a spot where they can rely on their run game, where it is just straight drop back and pass, it just gives them a better chance or a better opportunity to shut down a quarterback that's playing really well.
That's right.
So anyways, that was fun.
Yeah, I think that was fun. Kyle?
All right, we got to hit a break. We'll have more Kings coming up. We got some Pacers coming up. And some keys to a Kings victory. That's coming up as well. All in the last half hour on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. Be right back.
What's going on, everybody? We do have it confirmed that the Oakland A's are in Sacramento right now. Looking at River Cats Sutter Health Field. River Cats. Hey, Charlie's back. I'm gonna pull the Patrick Keller. I think you need to kick the tires on Vrabel as well, but I'm not sure that anyone's sold that Jim Harbaugh is gonna do what it is that you think he's gonna do. Like it's too wide open. Hi, Charlie.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for the show.
Yep. Let me see. Somebody asked, do I think a lot of deals get done before the deadline? I mean, I don't know. We already have 2 sizable deals, right? Isn't there more than one? Yeah, I mean, like, look, the Kings are going to push to make a deal. And I think if there's a team that's going to make a deal, it's like the Kings are really high on that list. Just because I think everyone can kind of see that things aren't going 100% the way you'd hope that they would go. And you have holes. But the trade deadline is weird. You just never know. Sometimes there's like this wild, like fireworks show at the end of a the trade deadline session where, like 8 deals get done or 12 deals get done. I don't think the Kings can play on the peripheral. I don't think that's where they're at right now because I think their peripheral players are actually pretty solid. They have to either improve the core, or they need to improve the starting lineup, or they need to improve something. Like it's got to be in their top 6, their top 5, 6, 7 players. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Yeah, I don't think a smaller deal. I just don't think it moves the needle. Like, where are you gonna do a smaller deal? I know, like Gilbert brings up, like, what smaller deal? How can you fit a player in on a smaller deal into the rotation? Because I don't see a lot of room to fit someone in. You got Fox, you got Monk, you've got Herter, Barnes, Murray. Like if the Kings aren't going to bring someone in to steal minutes from that's on equal footing as like Sasha Vezenkov. That just doesn't make any sense because you've invested, $18 million over 3 years, whatever. But maybe I'm off. David, that's a good question. Is Sasha on the table to be traded? I don't think so. But look, you got to do what you got to do to make a deal. And at a certain point, you have to look at some players for not just who they are as players, but also for who they are as salary contracts. I think Kyle's coming back.
Come back.
Oh, you're not back. Oh, there you go.
I am. Here we go. Any trades break while I was gone?
No, but I did get confirmation that the Oakland A's are actually in Sacramento checking out Sutter Health Field. Confirmation.
Temporary home of the Oakland Athletics. A AAA stadium in Sacramento.
Oh.
I'm just glad the A's are on top of this. I'm glad that they have their lives figured out for life beyond Oakland. Good for them.
Yeah.
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 I hope that this isn't Vivek doing his homie a solid, which it might be.
Yeah.
I would way prefer it being Vivek like, yeah, hey, let's soft launch the MLB in Sacramento idea and see how it goes. So hopefully maybe Vivek has talked to baseball and gone, hey, here's what we're going to do. We'll see how it goes. And maybe we'll get an expansion team here someday or something like that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'd be here for that. But anyways, no trades though.
No.
Fine.
No trades that I've seen. I mean, it's possible. Kenny's here. Hey, Kenny, have we seen any trades in the last 5 minutes?
Hang on. Good. Your mic's on.
He
you can't hear me.
Okay. Oh, yeah, he just left.
All right, that's fine. If you want to go back and listen to our interview with Leroy Butler, you can do so on YouTube and Twitch. Just rewind it a little bit. A super fun conversation at the top of last hour. Just really, really enjoyed talking with him. We'll dive further into 49ers and Packers tomorrow as we get you ready for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Yeah, we'll break again, by the way, like 43.
Okay.
Yeah, just FYI. I have an idea for the Kings. I have an idea how, in case a team goes small against them again, which I'm guessing is something teams will try and do. I don't know how much it'll happen in the regular season necessarily, because I don't know how much teams like scout opponents during the regular season as much as they like self-scout and try and get their own stuff down. But I think the move, you brought this up yesterday, and I didn't necessarily agree with it yesterday, in putting Kevin Herter in instead of Malik Monk when a team goes small. I think having a bigger player that can play small is more beneficial than having a player like Malik Monk on the court.
Okay.
And I don't know, because we talked a lot about Domantas Sabonis and how he offensively was like trying to run the offense instead of going and taking advantage of a smaller team.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that there wasn't a true center in the game who could guard him.
Yeah.
I think you can fix that by when a team goes small, just spread out Murray and Herter and Barnes and just do pick and rolls until the lights turn off.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting because you don't know when a team's going to go small on you, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
And every team, when they do go small, it's different. So like when the Kings go small, they're not running Kevin Durant out there at center. They're running Trey Lyles.
So right, a better player.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like there are different ways that these things happen, right? Where like every team is unique, every situation is unique. Sometimes the teams go small, you're like, okay, we'll just drop Alex Lennon, and any shot that we miss, we'll grab the rebound, and you're done.
Yeah.
So I mean, like there are a lot of different ways that this thing works out, and I think like in the moment, if you would have planned for them to go small, then you probably should have, because that's a team that doesn't have a great backup center that can do anything against Domantas Sabonis. But yeah, I mean, like, look, every situation is different, and it also depends. Like, my opinion in that game is that Malik Monk was having like a bad moment, and sometimes you do have to make a tough decision as a head coach and say, look, I'm going to go to somebody else. I mean, he ended up having 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter. Yeah. He had a couple of shots that were blocked in the fourth quarter, and like it wasn't working right then. And sometimes swapping somebody out and giving someone else a shot can work, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes like it's possible like their fate was sealed early on when they let go of that. And the Suns got rolling. It's possible that their fate was sealed.
Sure.
And it didn't matter who you had on the court. You had a team that was going to keep hitting shots.
Yeah. The thing with Malik Monk specifically, and I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday, that's such a hard line for Mike Brown to walk, because you use the term mistake player, which means Monk is going to make some mistakes here and there.
Yeah.
Whether it's a turnover, a bad shot, or whatever it may be. But for every one of those, you're going to get 2 or 3 plays that are spectacular, like different, like next level energizing plays. They stop a run, whatever it is. Like there's not a lot of guys on the team that you trust more than Malik Monk in a big spot to hit a shot, right? And they ran the last shot for him the other night against Phoenix. So understanding all that, it's really, really hard when he's having a rough go in the fourth quarter. It's really, really hard to know when that leash is and when it's time to use that hook.
Like, look,
because he might be in the middle of okay, he's made a couple of mistakes, but he also might hit a couple of huge shots down the stretch.
Yeah. And I love a good mistake player. Like that's like when I say mistake player, like I'll just say like Harrison Barnes. When you go look at his prize pick every night, there's a more or less on 0.5 turnovers. That is not a mistake player.
Right.
That's a dude who, if he makes a mistake, which he had 2 in that game, he had the offensive foul late in the game that hurt the team, right? So, but a good like it's a chaos. Maybe that's a better way to describe them. He's a chaos player.
Can I give you 2 mistake / chaos players?
Yep.
Josh Allen, quarterback of the Buffalo Bills.
Oh yeah,
chaos player.
Chaos.
Stephen Curry, chaos player.
Yes.
He turns the ball over so damn much.
Yep.
But you live with it because of all the good that comes with it. Malik Monk's in the same category.
Yeah, that, and I also think that like separating, like Buddy Hield was a mistake player, and there needs to be a clear separation because
like
some of the but some of those mistakes, but like Buddy averaged over 20 a game here. Buddy is like one of the great 3-point shooters we've ever seen.
Yeah.
But when a player pulls up with 21 seconds left on a shot clock, when you're up by 6 with 90 seconds left in a game, and he pulls up from 32 feet, I'm done.
Yeah,
like,
that's a losing play.
I don't want the coach to call a timeout and put the guy on the bench. I want the coach to call a timeout, have a small cannon to load him into, and literally shoot him into the upper bowl. Like that's where you're just so frustrated. Like understand the moment. And I think more often than not, Malik understands the moment, and he's really good in the moment. And what he brings, again, I don't like. It's not a bad thing. And you need those players on your team. You do, because Those players they're disruptive. They play outside of the offense. They play outside of the flow. They give you something different. They break up the whole game. And you have to have a guy like that. But when you see it happening in a game and you think, oh no, we've gone down the path of a player that is like realistically, he's going to keep hurting you, because sometimes that happens. You have to be able to say, okay, it's not your night, and I don't want to hurt your feelings, but it's not your night.
But also, like, what's that point of delineation? Like, at what point do you say, okay, it's not Malik Monk's night? Is it 3 turnovers? Is it 2? Is it one particularly egregious turnover? Is it a bad shot? Like,
yeah,
that's what's tough for me, because wait, you brought up yesterday, you said, and maybe they give Kevin Huerter more run in the fourth quarter. He got like 3 minutes, and Malik had 10.
Yeah.
And my initial reaction was no chance. Like, I know Kevin Huerter's been better right now, over the last couple of days, better in the scope of what he has been this year. Not better than Malik, but
yeah.
Like, over the course of the year, he's really struggling.
Yeah.
Yes, and he looked more like himself the last couple of games. And maybe he could have used that and used his size. And my initial reaction was, well, no, because Malik might hit back-to-back threes and put that game away.
Yeah.
And we've seen him do that umpteen times this year.
No, I totally get that. And the fact that Huerter's track record at this point in this season is not to do that. But over the last couple of games, it is to do that. Yeah. And over last season, it was him. Yeah. I mean, you got to remember, he finished third on the team in scoring last year, 15.2 points per game. And Malik finished at like 13 and a half. There was a difference in what you were getting, and there's a gravitational pull. They both have a pull, but it's different. Yeah. Like, again, the draw and kick capabilities, the pick and roll capabilities with Malik are off the chart. Although Huerter's he's good at hitting the roll man as well. Yeah, good decision maker. Yeah, but on occasion there are moments where it's like, hey, Kevin Huerter should not just be out of the rotation in the final 6 minutes of a game. Yeah. I mean, how many times, even this year, while he's had a bad year, have we seen him go in and grab 3 rebounds that mattered in the final minute of a game? I feel like maybe half a dozen times we've been like, yeah, Huerter shot it terribly, but asterisks, but those 3 rebounds in the fourth quarter were big. Yeah. Anyway. Before we hit the break real quick, did you hear about the Chiefs fans that were hospitalized due to hypothermia and frostbite? No. How many? I think it was 13 fans. Oof. Who went to the game the other night. Yep. I've always wanted to go to a game in the cold. I've always wanted to experience that. Just to say I did it, right? Yeah. I'm 33 now. I turned 34 in August. I don't think I could do it anymore. Like, when I was 25, I was like, yeah. Are you looking at the age of the players now? Yeah, a little bit. You're like looking at the ages. No, I'm just looking at, like, as a fan, I love sports, and there are not that many conditions that I wouldn't go hang out to watch great players like Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes, watching Chris Jones, watching those guys in person. Yeah, I got right. Like, I love that. That's one of my favorite parts of sports. 2 teams I couldn't give a rip about, but if you give me like prime, outstanding talent, I'll go and I'll watch, and I'll have a great time. I don't think I'm braving a negative 27 wind chill to do it anymore. Nope. I can't. I know there's long johns, and I know there's the balaclavas, and you can wear a big jacket and you can layer up. I'm just not. No, I'm not doing it either. I don't want to have to wear snow goggles to protect my eyeballs from the air. No. Like, that's too cold for me. No, I'm not doing it. We do have word that Tyrese Halliburton, according to reports, will not play tonight. Well, he came into the day questionable. He was upgraded to questionable. He will not play. And Pascal Siakam has not joined the Pacers yet. It does not look like he will be in uniform tonight. Well, that changes my keys to victory a little bit, but luckily, I wrote it in a way that accounted for this very thing. We'll do that next. We'll talk to KC for the handoff next. We're taking it to noon on ESPN 1320. Hey, I've got to take a call. Can you mute me? Oh, dang. James just did the I have to take a call thing. Let's see if he walks out the back. Hang on, everybody. Nope.
Oh, sorry, everybody can hear that. My bad. 15 fans. I said 13 and 16. Just danced all around it. What do we got? Yeah, like that's the thing is if somebody was like, hey, the A's are playing in game 7 of the World Series, but it's in, I don't know, where's it cold in the National League? Chicago. They're playing the Cubs. And it is super cold. Like, I don't even know if I'd do baseball weather cold, much less negative 27. Facts. Halliburton doesn't want that smoke with De'Aaron. Hey, Kenny, can you hear me right now? Oh, okay. Hang on. Let's get you in here. Here's that. Let's get that. Let me unmute your mic. I mute your microphone in there when you like come in to get ready.
Oh, no worries. No worries. I don't know if you heard me and Jesse talking about it a little bit yesterday. I'm not sure what you just said either, as far as like how they got on that. But me and Jesse propose every NFL stadium needs at least a retractable roof. That was ridiculous in Kansas City. And it happens like at least once a year somewhere. Kansas City, Green Bay, Buffalo. People got to sit in negative 15 weather. Like, are you kidding me?
See, I love the thing is though, is do you have a line where they have to close the roof? Like,
negative 9.
Negative 9 is the
yeah.
I got the wind chill. It's halfway through the first quarter. They're like, oh nope, just dropped to negative 10.
The crazy thing is Buffalo, building their new stadium, it's open air.
Yeah, like they wanted it that way. They did that on purpose.
And that's fine. That's fine.
Is it though?
But it should be retractable. That's where we came down to, like, not straight out dome, because we want some element games or whatever. But when it's unhealthy for everybody involved, like, you should be able to close a roof.
Did you hear what the city said when they built the open stadium, and the NFL's like, yo, you won't be able to host a Super Bowl because we're not doing Buffalo in February. Yeah. Like, that's crazy. And then the city was like, yeah, we don't have the infrastructure for it anyways. Like, oh my God. Like, it's probably true, but all right. Hey, no pressure here, James.
Well, I know he came out of here and I was like, yeah, what's going on?
Nothing.
Oh, boo.
What's going on?
I'm asking you.
Oh, nothing. Yeah, we're
not okay. Hang on. Just for the chatty house, no snitching. Nothing is in literally nothing, or nothing is in like I can't say anything. Nothing.
No, nothing.
Nothing as in that wasn't even a basketball call.
It was not a basketball call. Well, I mean, maybe, but not like a trade call. No, not that. No. Not a transaction.
Lie to us, James. Lie to us.
All right, hang on. Here we go. Coming back. Welcome back into the Insiders. Kenny Caraway is here for the handoff. We typically do this mid-segment because we got off track with Leroy Butler and we had to move some clocks around. Kenny's just going to start the segment with us.
Disappointed in my man James Ham.
Really brutal, man.
You got to work this thing out. You can be like, come back, because he left during the break or whatever. You got to come back and be like, yo, it's going down. I wouldn't change your dial from ESPN 1320 for the rest of the day. It's going down. Now, he didn't say what's going down. He just said it's going down. So, that's how you got to work it.
I was talking about this. I have like 3 people I talk to on a regular basis who, if I'm hanging out with them and they're like, oh, I need to take this call, or, oh, I just got a text. I'm like, you said what? Like, let's talk about it. And James, when he walked past my window and he goes just like this, Chatty House, he goes, I have to take this call.
I did.
And I was like, oh, go. Let's go. Let's go.
I probably should have just taken the call after the show.
I need hand signals though. I need the call, not basketball. Like I need something.
Well, I didn't know before, but
wow.
Yeah.
That once again, like I said, you didn't say, well, you wouldn't have been saying anything. You're like, yo, it's going down. Don't stop listening to 1320. Dude, you didn't say what was going down. You didn't say a trade. You didn't say a transaction. We could be talking about the new Uni tracker is out. You could have been talking about that. You didn't have to say specifically, but we left them on the edge.
We know James is a big uniform guy.
No,
I don't know how they do that. Did you see that they have all the uniform combinations out for the rest of the season? I used to always think they did that like day of or the night before.
No, this is not baseball. Isn't that crazy in baseball? The starting pitcher picks the uniforms.
I didn't know.
He's like,
that.
I'm feeling green today, guys.
What?
Yeah.
I had no idea that's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like in basketball, people don't know that the opposing team gets to choose which end of the court they warm up on.
That is always bizarre because you watch games and one day the Kings will be finishing on one side of the court, and the other day they'll be finishing. I'm like, yo, what's going on here?
Well, it's like in football, just which way is the wind going, and you want to make sure you're shooting to end the game on the better side.
Typically, the team wants defense in front of their bench, right? Oh, maybe that's just me. I think I want defense in front of my bench at the end of the game.
At the end of the game,
so you can be more communicative.
Yeah,
and play.
There's an argument for offense too, but I think I want defense.
A weird thing that goes on during pregame every game, which I don't know if a lot of people know, that the whistle it has a chip in it and it's tied to the clock. And they go and they check the whistles in pregame and make sure it stops the clock. So as soon as they blow the whistle, it stops the clock.
That's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And really so cool. all three of the officials have their whistle attached to the clock, and boom, boom, boom. Like as soon as so one guy will test out everyone's whistle before the game, which is kind of strange.
Well, put some Clorox on that whistle afterwards, sir. I always thought it was that little thing on their hip, right? Don't they control the clock by that too?
It's possible that they can also control the clock by that, but
because they do that when like somebody's rolling the ball. So like maybe they have control of it or whatever, but they're always got their hand on their hip.
You're not blowing the whistle.
Right, exactly.
So that's why you would have it in that situation where you're starting the clock and the moment the ball is touched, but you don't want to blow the whistle and stop the clock and stop everything. I
always wondered in sports, and I'm learning them all right now. This is amazing.
I would love to have like an hour to just sit down with an official from each league. I just have questions.
Oh, they'd be mad at me.
No,
why are y'all so dumb?
No, but that's just no. But that's the thing is, I would like obviously if you ask that, they're not going to answer you right.
Right.
But if you know going in, you can take notes on like, all right, I want to get to the bottom of why X, Y, and Z happen. You can frame your questions around why do these things happen.
Yeah, I'm just joking. I wouldn't be disrespectful, but like you talk about the Dame Lillard play the other day that Mike Brown was upset with. Like, okay, De'Aaron's hand was on his hip. Number one, did it affect the shot? I would say no. And number two, what's the difference between De'Aaron's hand being on Lillard's hip then, and then if De'Aaron was 4 feet away from the basket and Lillard had a hand on his hip, you probably wouldn't get a foul call, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference between the two? I would ask them, those type of questions because it doesn't make any sense.
I would ask in football, do they ever blindly throw flags? It feels like there's a lot of calls where they're just like, yeah, that's a flag. Like that just looks like a penalty. So I'm going to throw it. Even if they didn't
specifically like late hits, pass interference.
The one that there's a million examples, but one that sticks out in my mind is like Niners Browns. Tayshaun Gibson goes shoulder to chest on a Browns receiver, no contact to the helmet from either player, and they throw a flag. Is that just, did they see helmet to helmet? Or did they go, oh, that was a big hit over the middle of the field? That's just flag.
I wish they would just take the 2 seconds to look at those plays.
I agree. It's one replay. By the time you get everything settled, it's taking no extra time off the game. I agree with you.
And I say all the time, man, they are human. And the thing that bothers me the most is they don't talk. And if they would just say after the game, I got that wrong. I can live with that. You're a human being. You're going to mess calls up. Like, I don't expect it to be perfect, but don't tell me I saw something I didn't see.
Got it.
Like, just be like, oh, I was wrong.
You know, everybody forgave Jim Joyce, who blew Armando Galarraga's perfect game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why? Because after the game, Jim Joyce, very remorseful, was like, I blew it.
Mm-hmm.
If officials
So
did
tough.
that and just like, hey, you know what? Yeah, I thought I saw a foul, went back and looked, there wasn't one. That's on me.
I think on occasion you do see them go over and talk to the team and say, "Hey, like, look, we missed that. Our bad
For sure.
Like, we can't go back, but we missed it."
Can we do keys to the game in 50 seconds?
Rapid fire.
Okay, go. Number one.
Don't get in a track meet.
Yeah, no, you can't do that with the Pacers. They will run you out of the gym. Number one, expose them. They can't play defense.
Eat gas.
Expose them. Number two.
Oh shoot. Don't forget Buddy Hield, and don't let Buddy Hield beat you.
It says don't let Buddy Hield, and I agree with that. You just can't let him Buddy Hield. But also, if he wants to Buddy Hield, you got to let him.
If he wants to Buddy Hield, go ahead. Go ahead.
Number two for me, you got to get switchable against this team. They are athletic and long, and they got a lot of guys that can do the same stuff. Like if you're trying to run around screens and stuff, they will hurt you. Number three,
get right after a tough couple of games. You got to get right here. You got to figure out a way to atone for what happened the last couple of days.
Tyrese Halliburton's out. Can't get complacent. Go beat them down.
Don't let TJ McConnell beat you.
If all of those things happen, the Kings will win tonight. KC, thank you so much. D'Lo and KC coming up next on ESPN 1320 Sacramento Sports Leader.